I ain't perfect. NICE is not nice. I believe it's niece. I could be wrong about that. I ain't perfect. But from what I'm reading, it was terrible. Somebody basically drove a truck and just rammed it into a crowd. It's been reported that about 84 people were killed and literally took a truck and drove it straight through an event. It was Bastille Day. There was a crowd at the Bastille Day celebrations in Nice in southern France. They killed dozens of people. The AFP is reporting at least 84 people were killed. As a matter of fact, I am looking at images right now of people running through the streets. And wow, I'm looking at this truck just plowing through people. The French president, Francois Hollande, said, we cannot deny it was a terror attack. The driver shot into the crowd before plowing into the people. Did you know that? He shot into the crowd. So clearly there's a war on out there. And to be honest with you, we don't know who the forces are. One, these could be international so-called terrorists who have an issue. Terrorism is a tactic. It's not a nation. It's a tactic that's used by people that don't have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of bombs and munitions, that doesn't have hundreds of thousands of people in his army and his military. I mean, we don't have to employ terrorist tactics as a nation because we've got a $1 trillion army. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been spent over the years for our military. So we're going to be okay. But for those who don't have access to those kind of weapons, and for those who are trying to incite terror, they want to do things much more unexpectedly. My fear is that if these terrorist attacks continue, we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to become afraid as a nation and then allow the politicians and allow people who have other agendas to come up with policies that on some level take away our freedoms, like the Patriot Act. Like these other ideas that allow you to circumvent the rules because you feel like, you know, the nation's security is at stake. And I don't think we ever needed a Patriot Act. I don't think we really even needed any of the measures that we put in place. Now, I think that the FBI and the other, like the intelligence services and law enforcement services, ATF, FBI, I think that they clearly had an issue with communication and lines of communication. I mean, we know that from 9/11. But what we also know from 9/11 is that the Bush administration, they got a heads up about bin Laden and his ideas to try to attack the country. As a matter of fact, the former president, Mr. Bush, he was briefed with one of those daily presidential briefings in which, hey, it read, bin Laden is trying to strike America. But he disregarded that. He wasn't concerned with that. He was too worried about chopping wood on his ranch down in Texas and taking vacations. You know, all this kind of stuff. That's what George Bush was all about. And while he was learning on the job about international relations, while he was worried about, you know, wiping away anything that was left over from the Clinton administration, while he was worried about his own neoconservative grand designs, 9/11 happened on his watch. It never should have went down like that. It was a spectacular failure of the Bush administration. Now, I'll tell you one thing. That's one thing that Donald Trump was saying early on, which I completely agree with. I have never seen a Republican ever, especially one running for the Republican nomination, dog out and talk about the job quality, right, of the former president, George Bush. I have never seen that. It was amazing. And again, we were together. You know, I kept it real with you. I shared my thoughts. That was amazing. Monique writes, I ain't going to lie. I wanted to play that game just to see what the hype was all about. But I have a life so busy that I'm afraid to get caught up, LOL. And yes, my son said he drove through a downtown last night and there were all kinds of Pokemon in Washington Park. Yeah. Pokemon in Washington Park. But then I can understand it's probably like a social thing. So now you're out and you're meeting other people. You're making friends. I don't know how the game works, but perhaps you can like connect with those people back inside the game and battle with the Pokemons or whatever the hell they do. Whatever the hell they do. Dale writes, Dale writes, it must have been just a game in the projects when I was growing up. LOL, Tracy. What game is that? Carolyn writes, good morning, Chop Shop. Hit the like button. Dale writes, to the Inquirer, the crime of black folks making money was committed. Shaking my head. Right. Yeah, leave. If Sam Malone did something criminal, then point it out. Other than that, stop trying to drag this man's name through the media. Have you noticed Sam Malone has not done any interviews? I've not heard them. And I may reach out to Mr. Sam Malone to see if he may be interested in giving us his point of view. I doubt it, quite honestly. I think just from what I'm reading, he's taking a stance of we're just going to let this ride out, let it die. Because maybe they feel like there's nothing there. Good morning, Brittany. Good to see you. Welcome back to the show. Monique writes, Nate, did you hear about the water contamination in Sebring, Ohio? Lead, and they knew it. That is why I don't drink Crystal Springs bottle. This is why I drink Crystal Springs bottled water only. No trust in these systems. Really? Now, was this a bottling? Hold on. Let me look this up right now. You know me. I'm not going to wait. Because that is huge. Let me see. Sebring. Hold on. Sebring. Water. Okay. Former operator of Sebring water system faces charges after lead issues discovered. This is from the Columbus Dispatch. The former operator of Sebring water system is facing criminal charges and a maximum fine of more than $2 million for allegedly failing to notify residents about potentially hazardous lead levels in their drinking water. Attorney General Mike DeWine and Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Director Craig W. Butler announced 3 misdemeanor charges today against James V. Bates of Salem in northeastern Ohio. Bates operated Sebring's water system in 2015 when sampling was conducted, as required by state law, to test for lead and copper. So, was he bottling up this water and selling it to people without telling them? Residents of the village of about 4,400 people did not learn about the lead hazard until January 21st, 6 weeks after the Ohio EPA told village officials about the problem. So it comes down to, it must be the money. It comes down to money. It's like, out of hell with these people. They'll be okay. There's lead in everything. It's from the earth. Well, listen, I wish I had better news for you, but the realest thing that I've ever said, one of the realest things that I've ever said in terms of a warning or a heads up to my audience over the years is the fact that the clean water is running out, people. I hate to tell you this, but I swear to you, this is the absolute truth. Clean water is running out on this planet. And if we don't stop our efforts, if we don't set up a way to purify our water, to stop polluting our water systems, our oceans, our clean water systems, then we're going to find ourselves in a real predicament. I mean, real life could look like a sci-fi movie. I know it sounds preposterous because water is so plentiful. You know, it's so plentiful. I mean, I can go upstairs, go into my house right now and turn on the faucet. You know, you can go to your job and use the faucet. You can, if you've got it, you can go outside and play in the water. You can drink the water, bathe the water. You can change it, wash your hair, wash your clothes. I mean, we take water for granted. We take clean water for granted. And what I'm here to tell you, and I'm glad you brought this up, is that stories like what I just read to you about the Sebring folks up in near Cleveland, what I'm here to tell you is that you're going to start reading more stories like that. More stories. Okay? I would say that within the next 50 to 60 years, so many of us won't be here. Like, if I'm around for the next 50 years, I'll be very old. And I'll be grateful to see life because that means I get a chance to see my children be adults, maybe even some grandkids. Okay, that might be cool. That might be cool. Little me's out there. That's great. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to make it 50 years from now. My son might. My daughter, yeah, they'll probably make it. But what kind of world am I going to leave them? And I don't know about you, but I think about things like that as a parent. Shannon writes, no, let me back up here. I want to make sure I get everybody's. Junior writes, I'm from West Dayton, and my folks tell me the Pokemons are jumping out there. You may want to take a trip soon if you are into that. Jayla writes, Mila writes, that's right. It's pronounced niece. Right, that's what I thought. Thank you, Mila. I know it wasn't nice. Angela writes, Pokemon with Harambe. Nate. That's right. Kellen writes, I'm going to stick to Candy Crush. You know, when I first got on Facebook many years ago, and I was late to Facebook, like I was in the media, and again, just so blessed to have the experiences that I've had. So blessed. I mean, just one of a lifetime experience working in media, public radio, commercial radio, because I've seen the evolution and the integration of social media into mass communications, into radio communications. It's been quite interesting, quite interesting. And so you've seen the evolution of these things. You've seen it. And I'm just here to tell you that, you know, with social media, that's a great way to connect with people. So when I first got on Facebook, hell, I was in the commercial radio 5 or 6 years by that point. I was late to Facebook. And when I first got on, people used to send me these invitations to play Candy Crush. I had no idea what it was. I'm like, Candy Crush? What the hell is this? And it's just something about that name, Candy Crush. I wasn't playing no damn Candy Crush. I'm a grown man. Grown men's and them don't play Candy Crush, okay? I ain't going out like that. But now I understand what it is. It's a harmless game. Pamela writes, wow, I just looked at some of the articles on Sebring's water crisis. This started at the end of 2015. Yes, it did. Not too long ago. Shannon writes, maybe you already talked about it, but did you hear about the black man harassed by police outside of Planet Fitness in Tri-County because he looked suspicious sitting in his car in a hoodie and gym shorts? He just got done working out. They searched him, took his phone and everything. Really? I've done the same thing. I've worked out like very, very hard and then had a hoodie on and then put my hoodie up because it was cold outside. It was the wintertime. And, you know, when you're perspiring like that, you hit that cold air, man. I don't want to feel that. I'm not trying to get sick or whatever. So I put the hoodie on even while I'm in the car while the car is warming up. I get that. That's my right. Man, I'm going to look into that. Wait. Let me look this in. I got to look at everything. Thank you very much. I love the way this works. Tri-County Mall. Man. Okay, let me see what we get here. Okay, I'm going to look for this. Thank you very much, Shannon. Appreciate that. I had not heard about that, or maybe I kind of rings a bell. I didn't focus on it this morning in my prep, but maybe I came across it maybe last night or something last night. It was a lot of stuff percolating yesterday. I was out with a friend doing what grown men do at one of our favorite watering holes. Pat writes, play if you must or have the time. Just be aware of your surroundings. Yeah. Brittany writes, people do look to me like zombies walking around the city, LOL. The thing that worries me is that people are not paying attention to their surroundings. A lady the other day got locked inside a cemetery playing the game. Now, who put a damn Pokemon in the cemetery? That's a good place for it. It's almost an element of, have you ever played those games? And I've done this in terms of working for former employers, not radio employers, that was doing team building exercises. And I forget what the word for this is, but you've got like a race where, and again, I had a gang of fun with it. They paid me to do this. And it was a way to team build, with the other members of our team. And essentially it was sort of like a scavenger hunt. And it was just so well done. I had a great time with it. And we had to drive around the city, downtown, Clifton, Reading Road area. We had to stop over near the Avondale Pride Center. And you're looking for clues. It's a little bit of a race. It was kind of like the Great Race, only it was in Cincinnati. And this kind of reminds me of that with the Pokemon. I mean, it's not like you're just sitting at home. You're out and about, you're walking around. I think that changes the dynamic